So yesterday's pains are today's gains, not to be a gym bro. Hi, long time no see, YouTube vlog. How are you? The first was spent chilling with my husband. Yes! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
But let me talk to you about what I did today. It is currently 9:54 p.m. This is probably one of the latest times I've streamed. And of course, I closed my Twitch thing before I finished streaming, per usual. As you can tell, I'm a little bit out of practice. So first off is I actually got final draft, and look at that huge typo, café con leche, ugh. But yeah, I finally bit the bullet and got final draft. It is industry standard, and I'm actually working on the Dramatists Guild file for this. So I just, for example, let me just do that, and as you can see, you hit enter and you get all the options that you need for different sections. So you get the general, action, character, parenthetical, dialogue, notations, and stuff. So it makes writing super easy. So I did actually write through scene 1 and scene 2. And my favorite part is it comes with really, really strong statistics. So today I wrote 829 words towards JanuWrimo, number of 62 paragraphs. Musical theater doesn't have paragraphs in the classical sense that you would in a novel. It's more of like different kind of lines and spaces between dialogue scenes, or also like stanzas in a song. So as you can see here, I actually only have dummy lyrics. I don't think I'm actually going to use pretty much any of these, but they are kind of the main points that I want to accomplish in those sections. Obviously, I know that my opening song 30 by 30 has to include like all these beats. It's going to be kind of an in the heights moment, the opening song. And then I know for scene 2, which I just wrote today, is going to be Alejandra singing her I Want song as she heads to the coffee shop. And it's going to be the Café con Leche song. That's going to be pretty catchy. Also, I need to figure out a way to write Café con Leche. And then I started writing the scene that will lead into Rosa's song as well. The thing about musicals is that a lot of songs actually develop and move the plot forward, or that's what the best ones do, rather than dialogue doing it, because you don't want songs to feel like time is stopping. You want things to be progressing in the song. So yeah, that's definitely something we are going to be working towards. And all in all, that's definitely something that's going to take a lot of time to write, but I'm hoping to have like a rough draft of Act 1 after tomorrow's stream, because today we streamed for about 3.5 hours. We did 4 30-minute sprints, and as I said, I wrote 829 words. But let me show you the best statistic the final draft has, because honestly, it blows my mind. Look at this. It's literally the character statistics, who they interact most with, how much times they speak, and all that. Look at that. Right now, Rosa is doing the majority of the talking. Alejandra is doing the majority of the singing. But also here we have scenes, general headings. It's literally so wonderful. Now, I know in terms of JanuWrimo, I'm nowhere near the amount of words that I'm supposed to get, but I'm really thinking that I'm going to get a lot of words tomorrow, since I'm hoping to fully draft Act 1 tomorrow, or at least half of Act 1. We shall see. So this is what we got today. King of Swords reversed. Pause to read. This was kind of the energy of the day for writing and for the stream, and I don't feel like it really hits. But to be honest, it was the first reading of the year for my lovely Ethereal Visions deck, which has been doing a lot of heavy lifting. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that we did today. And with that, I will check in with you tomorrow. Hi, it's late check-in. It is currently 6:26 p.m. Stream just ended. We actually just went to raid our lovely AG author goddess on Twitch. If you haven't followed, make sure that you do. As you can see, there's the pup just chilling. We got raided lots today. It was a big day on Twitch, actually. So yay. Thank you to everyone who came today. But also ask me what I did today for the musical. Nothing. I really consider Twitch to be my portfolio, especially for my musical work. So I really try and clean it up and keep it as professional looking as possible. I really do think it's sort of like my website that I would send people on, because you can have all these panels and stuff with a lot of personal information like you would a website, but you can also then go back and see streams and also see some of the work and stuff. So as I'm getting ready to go back on YouTube again, where this vlog will be, I think, a week after this as I'm recording it, it feels nice to know that my home right now is Twitch, and I feel really comfortable and happy in that space. And coming back to YouTube now feels more of like a celebration of everything I've done in the last 6 months for the musical, and less of a fear of trying to make content for the internet, whatever that means. And so with that, no updates on this very long Tuesday, other than I definitely need to get a new calendar. And so with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Vlog. We'll talk about that in a second. It is currently 11:14 a.m. on the 5th, and yesterday was a bit overwhelming. Point is that your girl, for better or for worse, yeah, let me talk about So yesterday I ended up writing exactly 1,000 words, which is pretty funny. As I was writing myself out of Act 1, Scene 2, where Rosa comes in and is like, why is no one here yet? That's bad. It hit me that I might have had too many songs in my original sort of scene pitch for the musical. There's a part of me that wants to have a sing-through show because I feel like it'll be much easier to do that than it would be to write dialogue. On the flip side, I really do feel that the show benefits from a sense of naturalism, which really can't be afforded if they sing. This was my original Café con Leche master list, which I wrote in my journal after finishing the full-on kind of scene-by-scene outline of the show. This is now comfortably 4 pages, which is great, or sorry, 5 pages, which is great because at one point it was sitting at 20, so I've definitely condensed and made the points all very clear. Unfortunately for me though, as you can see here, the problem with a musical is that adding songs actually slows down the time. And so what do I mean by slowing down the time? This is a saying that I kind of bastardized from Jack Vertiel's book, The Broadway Musical, which talks about the musical structure. What's really important about understanding kind of musical as an art form is that songs need to not only be catchy, good, fun, etc., entertaining. They also need to move the plot forward. And the biggest problem that as writers we get into is that we want to give songs to characters to further develop them, to give them kind of a sense of growing and feeling. The issue with that, of course, is that we slow down the momentum of the plot. And by slowing down the momentum, especially early on in Act 1 and especially on kind of at the end of Act 2, the show not only feels bloated, but also can bore your audience. And more importantly, it's extra stuff to write. So for me, I'm not underwriting in the sense of like, oh, by cutting this, I am definitely losing a major part just to keep the show going and trucking along. It's more along the feelings of realizing like, oh, look, I want to explore this character's inner life. Oh, I have a similar beat later. Maybe if I move it, I can get kind of the setup scenes going and do that. Again, there is a lot of exposition in the first like 5 scenes in a musical, and it all has to be done in dialogue and song. So I definitely don't want a lot of like kind of introspective songs, quote unquote, a ballad kind of being the 3rd number of the show. For Scene 3, I really wanted to get Rosa's perspective because to me, her and Alejandra are really kind of the heart and soul of the show. So I wanted to present kind of her, I want some of hopes and dreams for her in kind of relation to Alejandra's I want song, which is Café con Leche. But it hit me that later down, I have a song called Julio that Rosa also sings, which is pretty much the same beat as hopes and dreams of like, what do I want for her? I want her to be happy. I want her to be successful, but I also have these expectations expectations of what it means to be my daughter, right? And all these things are also talked about in scene 8. And so this song actually slows down the momentum of the entirety of like section 1 of Act 1, where we are setting up the premise, setting up the needs, setting up the conflict, setting up kind of the love story, the reaction to the love story by our main character, and then the second conflict in a different scene. So Julio being right after that makes way more sense since we have actually seen Rosa in action, and she can now tell us her motivation for doing all those things here. So yesterday was just a bit of screaming and crying. I was about to quote a TikTok during the stream and cutting out all the unnecessary songs that I felt like, at least in Act 1, were adding bloat rather than actual momentum, and like nothing that wasn't also going to be talked about later in the story. As you guys know from my video that I made sort of as a reintroduction, your girl is working on JanuWrimo, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out Katie Ann Writes, make sure you do. I was actually going to do it independently, like I came up with it by myself, and then I saw that she was doing the whole thing. So I do want to give her credit for like hosting the whole thing and creating all those Excel sheets. So if you haven't followed Katie for some reason and you're watching me instead, what are you doing? But also make sure to check her out. I'll link her below. But I am using JanuWrimo as a way to fast draft the musical. And fast drafting is really different than drafting, especially in a musical, because what I'm doing for fast drafting is I am writing all the scenes and really kind of figuring out the flow of dialogue. But as you can see, all the lyrics, which are the ones in caps, are all dummy lyrics. None of that rhymes. None of that has actually been written yet. There are no songs yet, except for like the 3 I sent in for BMI and my submission locally at SDSU. So I want to be able to send something to these people if they're like, oh, so what do you have? And I'm like, I have this draft of the show. It isn't all written yet. Like, I'm working on it, but here I have kind of the whole thing. You can read all the beats, etc. With all that out of the way, because I can't remember if I actually told you that in detail earlier on in this vlog, let me talk to you about what I actually did yesterday. I decided to map it out here on my calendar. This is my December calendar, so I'm not even actively using it right now. But as you can see, I have Act 1, all the scenes that I need to write for it. So Act 1, right now, it is currently sitting at 18 scenes long. Of course, there are some like setup scenes, like there's going to be an outro here and an intro there. But these are 18 songs in Act 1. That would actually be a more accurate way to describe this. And it is divided up in sections. So this is section 1, which is the premise of the show and the setup for all the conflict. Then here we have the increase, right? The next level where everything gets even more stressful. It's been a month. Café con Leche is not doing well. And then finally, the rush to the end of Act 1. Now, for a long time, I was unable to kind of express what I so easily in 4 minutes told you about the show because my story was too convoluted. But now it really feels like I can get this fast drafted at least this week. I'm trying to write as much as I can for the show because, again, I know that I'm going to be called up, either rejected. In a way, if I get rejected, of course I'll be hurt, but I'll be like, oh, great. I can have a little bit more time to kind of write it the way that I want without kind of the rush of a deadline. But secondly, if I do get accepted, I want to be able to have something that has a bit more form and a bit more structure. But yeah, worked on that yesterday. Very proud of this. I know that Act 2 is going to fit here. And as you can see, let me flip you around. I'm actually keeping tabs on here. Fast draft is purple, and then song drafts is going to be a completely different monster. Let me sit you down because I do have some mail to open and show you, and I just have some final thoughts before we jump into the writing today. But really the most important thing for me at the moment is realizing that I don't need to perfectly, and I'm talking like perfectly, develop every character. There are going to be some flat characters, and that's okay. So Natalie and Michelle, of course, have goals and dreams of their own, and we're going to actually find out a lot of that information. But they serve the purpose of being Alejandra's friends. In a different way, Nick and Javier are going to be a little bit more developed than Natalie and Michelle because they affect the plot in a more direct way rather than Natalie and Michelle, I think, in my mind, sort of serving as more of a audience stand-in of kind of how we are viewing the process and the moral grayness of it. But more than anything, I am loving the drafting process right now that I have all of this figured out, because it really feels like I'm going to swim through it. So yesterday's pains are today's gains, not to be a gym bro. Now, I would show you the packet, but it has my personal information on it. But I do have a Twitter mutual. Her name's Erin, and I'm low-key obsessed with Diana the musical in a way that people are obsessed with flops. And she was able to go to the closing of Diana, which clearly, as a Californian and a poor person, I wasn't able to attend. But she did say if you wanted a program to ask her, and so she sent it to me. So I have in my possession a Diana the musical playbill. I feel like I've earned it, even though I didn't see the show on Broadway. I have seen the pro recording on Netflix like 3 times. Not to mention Gianna Duvall, who is Lady D here. She is fucking singing, slaying, carrying the show. Just, my God, she is absolutely killing it. She worked on the show for like 7 fucking years. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from my show. Like, Alejandra's going to be pretty much singing all the time. And I'm going to need someone like this, but the Hispanic version of this. Do I want it to be me? Yes, because I'm Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's pretty much all I have to update you right now. It's 11:36. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee. I'm going to get ready for the stream, which starts in about an hour, and just catch you up at the end of the day, since I know I'm going to be working on the musical today. I'm really feeling... It's been a very hard couple weeks for me in terms of like sleeping and feeling like myself. So I'm happy to be doing that again. Also, I totally need to pick a more flattering angle. And so with that, see you later. All right, it is currently 5:43 p.m. on the 5th. And yes, I am wearing my bathrobe. I did also have a series of unfortunate events today, none of which allowed me to write. First is I burnt my pizza. It still smells absolutely horrible in here, so loving that, which means I had to open all my windows. It's freezing, hence the bathrobe. But last or not least, if you haven't joined my Discord yet, please make sure you do. But also know that it's the new Discord. I made a Discord about a year ago. Pidge, who is the person who made it for me, had this whole thing with Discord, ended up getting banned. And we finally had reached 100 people in our server. And we finally kind of met the requirements to transfer ownership from her to me. So we were going to do that, but we got automatically denied because there is a new rule that is nowhere to be found unless you get the denial email, which is if the person who made the server got banned, then it can no longer transfer. I would have made the updated server much, much earlier if I had known that. So it is bittersweet because all the people who joined, we lose, and some might get lost in the fray and stuff. So because of that, I didn't have a chance to actually work on the musical at all today because it was just literally putting out fires. And so with that, that is the update. I'm hoping tomorrow I can get some words, but the total of words today, I did actually write some words before this actually went down, but I think I wrote like 70 words. So I guess it's something. So with that in mind, I'll see you tomorrow. Join the Discord. It is currently 6:33 p.m. on the day of the insurrection, or at least a year after. Can you believe that? Not to get political on Maine, but when do I not get political? Anyway, hi. Has been a day. There have been some changes to the board, as you can see. I need to actually add one more post-it to it. So yeah, let me do that and then let me catch up with you. So this is better. Also, yes, that's Jack, me, and my husband, in case you're curious. Anyway, so I wrote 4 scenes today. I finished the bet, which I started yesterday, and wrote the talking scene when Nick walks out of the bed and into the coffee shop. Next, the offer, which the song is actually now going to be titled Dreams and Debts. I think it's a pretty good thing if I do say so myself. I still need to come up with a title for this. This is just kind of the beat of the bet. And then I did also end up finishing the offer, and then the talking scene between Nick and the gang as he exits and the other characters are looking into ways to help the coffee shop. The scene where I left off during the stream is Act 1, Scene 7, which you can see here, where Megan is at the Argentinian-Chilean restaurant Los Andes because she is going to use the knowledge that she found out about Alejandra Donoso, which is now her name. This is the official character list with characters' names and last names for y'all to see, but she's going to use the knowledge right against her and see what she has to offer for the actual coffee shop, which I love. It's like slowly starting to write itself. As I was figuring out kind of what songs I needed to write, I really left a lot of room for the creative tissue and the connecting tissue to be done during discovery writing. And I think I'm starting to find the balance between these characters. And I feel like the dialogue is getting a bit better. The songwriting is definitely going to be hard, but I'm starting to hear kind of motifs in the work that I think are going to come out. I'm starting to realize why the opening song is really so much, or so the thing about opening numbers, right, is that they're supposed to represent kind of the entirety of the project and the setup, and in some ways they actually also reflect motifs musically that is going to come out later. So in Familia Madrigal, in Encanto, Abuela actually sings the melody of Dos Oruguitas. When it hits us, right, emotionally at a level, when we watch it, obviously we get hit by the emotional like nature of the song and the story, but also subconsciously we are hit with the fact that that melody resonates with Abuela and that we're supposed to tie it to her. And so when the reveal happens of where the melody comes from, subconsciously it does the same thing. So I'm realizing that because I have the big Act 1 ender already written, that's Alejandra, which I've talked about in serious detail in my previous TikTok vlog. So if you want to know more about the project, you can catch up with those as they get uploaded, or you can follow my TikTok. I'm going to make the Alejandra theme come out earlier and have it be maybe in a different key or something so that it doesn't feel so romantic as it does in that very, very high key. Anyway, let's jump to word count. So right now I'm currently sitting at 3,592 words in the document, which means that right now for JanuWrimo on day 6, not only did I write 4 scenes, but I also wrote 1,632 words, making it my biggest day in JanuWrimo so far. Now, no matter the Rimo, either NaNoWriMo or JanuWrimo, I'm always going to be a rebel since I'm a musical theater writer, and it's rare that we have a project that really does reach 50,000 words. So that's why I am counting by scenes, and that's why I am, you know, tracking kind of the movement of everything on this big post-it board with all the story beats. I'm thinking that I will hopefully at this rate that I'm going at fully have a functioning, or at least drafted out, Act 1 written out in full with dummy lyrics by the end of next week, which means that potentially I could have a rough draft of the entire show by the end of the month with dummy lyrics. These are currently in the lyric section, like formatted in the right way, but as you can see, there's no rhyme or reason because it's actually dialogue that I need to cover. Like the actual content of the lyrics needs to be this, but this is not the final lyrics, right? So we have Nick here say, kind of as the big blow for Alejandra, oh, don't misunderstand me, you will lose everything no matter what, but I have to give it to you. It's been a while since I've seen someone with this much fight, but unfortunately for you, it doesn't matter. You can refuse to sell me your lease. That is indeed something you have the power to do, but I'm sure your landlord will not be quite as steadfast on selling me your lease, on not selling me your lease or whatever. So because I am drafting the script, I kind of know now what I need to sit down and write in a more specific way. So if I'd sat down and wrote the songs first and then tried to fit them into the script, they might not actually hit the emotional points that I need or hit the beats that I need to create kind of the fear that I want. So Nick is really kind of the antagonist and presented earlier on and could be potentially read, right, as like who's going to be the love interest in the show. He's kind of the decoy in this, because it turns out, right, like Megan's even worse, and the audience knows this going in a way that the characters don't. So the audience kind of already knows the tension and the fact that they're not going to give up, and the fact that Megan is next up on the docket, even though our main protagonists don't. So there is a lot of morally gray and unscrupulous things happening on here, but it does feel very real, even though I wouldn't say that these characters are morally good, but does that matter, right? I don't know. But I will kind of finish with this because it does actually impact how I'm going to be writing. I am thinking of changing my stream start time from 1 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. so that we have the 30 minutes that we have at the beginning of the stream to just chat, and then start sprinting right at 1 so that I get in full 3 hours of working together, because I only stream for 4 to 5 hours, and I do actively try and work on the musical during, like, that is my allotted 3 hours of time that I am working on the musical, rain or shine. I'm trying not to like work on anything else during that time, so I'm gonna see if that works. I'm gonna try it out, and I will keep you updated and see how it affects the writing process. Hi, let me show you the time. It is currently 11:19 p.m. on a Friday. My neighbors are being super noisy, but my husband and I already went to bed. You can see the curtains hide my reflection, so you might be asking yourself, Maiga, in your first week of JanuWrimo, what did you do? The answer to that is I wrote 4 scenes. I wanted to be done with Act 1 by the end of this week. So I am very behind. I don't regret what has been happening. I've had a lot of stuff happen on Twitch. I had my first ever hate raid today where we got attacked by like follow spam bots or spam follow bots. I don't know the exact terminology. We had 220 people follow, and out of those 220 follows, only about 5 or so were real. And so, like, you know, I've been so proud of being very good at keeping bots at bay and stuff, but it was like the first time I've ever like had to go through that. It was really overwhelming and really scary, and it takes a lot of time. Like this week I got denied by Discord. I had to learn to make a new server on the fly. We had to learn to do that on the fly. My stream crashed yesterday, so like a lot of my time is going into maintaining my server and my Twitch community, which is perfectly fine. I'm more than happy to do that. It's like one of my greatest joys, but it's definitely put me behind on writing. So I don't know if I'm going to be writing during the weekend. I have some videos that I want to edit and just some other stuff I want to do for myself. At the same time, I'm asking myself if maybe I'm avoiding responsibility by doing that. I'm already behind schedule from what I originally wanted to post, but that's okay. Things happen for a reason. So right now it's late for me. My husband is already sleeping, but I kind of want to make a list of what I need to do and what I need to tackle and what I need to make for everything so that I can just hit it back to back to back. And so yeah, that's the end of week 1 of JanuWrimo. What is it? What is the word I'm thinking of? Not the integral, the inaugural vlog of 2022, and my first vlog back here. First writing a musical vlog. And so with that, I will see you next week with a new vlog. Adieu.